My brother cut me off completely, then watched my private jet land on YouTube and started texting about family loyalty. Welcome back, beautiful people. Before we begin, subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. We love seeing this community grow worldwide. I stared at Marcus's last text for the 100th time. Don't contact me again. You're not my sister anymore. 3 years. 3 entire years since those words appeared on my screen, and I still remembered exactly where I was standing. In my tiny studio apartment, eating ramen because I'd just paid my last semester's tuition. My brother, my only sibling, the person who knew every childhood secret, every fear, every dream, had erased me like deleting a spam email. The worst part, I still didn't know why. Our mother had died when I was 19 and Marcus was 23. Dad followed 2 years later, heart attack, though I think it was really heartbreak. We only had each other. Or so I thought. After Dad's funeral, Marcus looked at me across the cemetery and said, "I need space to process." Space turned into silence. Silence turned into blocked numbers. My emails bounced back. His friends wouldn't talk to me. I stopped trying after year 1. What else could I do? I threw myself into finishing my MBA, working 3 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a night. The pain of his abandonment became fuel. Every rejection letter, every setback, I channeled it into becoming someone who didn't need anyone. Now, sitting in my corner office on the 47th floor, I wondered if he ever thought about me. Did he remember teaching me to ride a bike? Our secret handshake? The promise we made at Mom's grave to always protect each other? My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. "Sis, it's Marcus. We need to talk about family." My hands started shaking. I stared at those words until they blurred. We need to talk about family. As if he hadn't destroyed ours. As if 3 years of silence could be erased with a casual text. My assistant, Jennifer, knocked softly. "Your 2 o'clock is here, Ms. Richardson." I nodded, setting my phone face down, but my mind was miles away. The meeting was torture. I smiled, nodded, discussed quarterly projections while internally screaming. How dare he? How dare he resurface now using that word, family, like it meant something to him? After the stakeholders left, I grabbed my phone. 5 more messages. "I know it's been a while, but I really need to see you. It's important. It's about what you've accomplished." I saw the TechCrunch article. "Congratulations on the company. Can we meet this week? Please, Simone. I'm still your brother." My vision went red at that last one. So my brother? He'd stopped being my brother the day he blocked my number while I was crying on his voicemail about failing my first startup. The day he didn't show up when I graduated top of my class. The day he missed every milestone that mattered. I typed and deleted a dozen responses. Finally, "How did you get this number?" His reply was instant. "I have my ways. Look, I know I messed up. But family is family. We need to discuss your success and how we can support each other going forward." Support each other. I laughed, a harsh sound that made Jennifer peer through the glass wall with concern. He wanted to support me now. Now that I'd built a $50 million tech company from nothing. Now that Forbes had just named me one of the most promising entrepreneurs under 35. Where was this support when I needed it? I couldn't focus. For 3 years I'd built walls around that pain, brick by brick, until I'd convinced myself I didn't care. One text and those walls cracked. I called my best friend, Keisha. We'd met in business school, bonded over being broke and ambitious. And she'd been there through every dark moment when Marcus's absence felt like a physical wound. "He texted me," I said without preamble. Silence. Then, "I'm coming over. Don't respond to anything." Keisha arrived with wine and her laptop. "Before you make any decisions, let me do some digging. You know I'm nosy as hell." She wasn't just nosy, she was a data analyst who could find anyone's digital footprint. Within an hour she'd mapped Marcus's last 3 years. "Girl," she said slowly, pulling up Facebook. "Your brother got married. 2 years ago." The room tilted. Married. He'd gotten married and hadn't invited me. Hadn't even told me. Keisha clicked through photos. Marcus in a tuxedo, beaming beside a woman in white, surrounded by cousins I recognized. Our Aunt Patricia was there. Uncle James. People who'd known me since birth, celebrating while I existed in some erased timeline. There's more. Keisha's voice was gentle now. They bought a house last year. He works at a marketing firm, mid-level position. Comfortable but not exactly thriving. She paused. Simone, 3 weeks ago someone posted a video of you landing at the Aviation Expo. Your jet. Your company logo on the side. It went viral, over 2 million views. My stomach dropped. Show me. The video was shot from the ground, capturing my Gulfstream touching down. The caption read, "Self-made millionaire Simone Richardson arrives in style." Comments flooded with praise, questions about my company, people tagging others. Marcus had commented, "That's my sister. So proud." I felt sick. Keisha grabbed my hand as I stared at Marcus's comment, posted 2 weeks before his text. "That's my sister. So proud." The lie of it, the audacity made my chest tight. "Look at the replies," Keisha said quietly. Person after person responded, "You must be so proud. Successful family." Another, "Big bro must have been such a good influence." Someone else, "Family goals." He'd been basking in reflected glory, accepting congratulations for my success while having actively cut me from his life. Keisha pulled up more. "He's been doing this for months. Every article about you he shares it. My baby sister. Always knew she'd make it. It's like he's created this alternate reality where he supported you the whole time." I scrolled through his timeline. There, sharing my Forbes feature with the caption, "Family Legacy." Our parents would be so proud. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Our parents. The same parents whose graves he'd attended alone for 3 years while I stood behind trees in the cemetery, too afraid of rejection to approach. What do I do? My voice cracked. "First tell me what happened 3 years ago. The real story. You've never fully explained why he cut you off." I took a deep breath, reaching back into memories I'd tried to bury. Dad left us some money. Not a fortune, about 70,000 each after everything was settled. Marcus suggested we invested together, start a business. I was excited. We spent months planning. And I met someone. Devin. He was charming, ambitious, said all the right things. Marcus hated him instantly, said he was using me. We fought about it constantly. Then Devin pitched me a business idea. Said he had connections, experience. I invested my inheritance with him instead of with Marcus. Keisha winced. Let me guess. Devin disappeared with every penny 6 months later. Fake name, fake credentials, fake everything. I was 22 and financially destroyed. Did Marcus know? Keisha asked softly. About Devin stealing your money? I nodded, tears threatening. I called him, sobbing, terrified. I'd been so stupid, so naive. You know what he said? I told you so. Don't expect me to bail you out. You made your choice, live with it. Then he hung up. That was the last real conversation we had before he blocked me. Keisha's expression darkened. So he abandoned you at your lowest point, stayed away while you rebuilt yourself from nothing, and now wants back in because you're successful? Hearing it laid out so plainly made the pattern undeniable. I chose wrong, I whispered. I trusted the wrong person and it hurt Marcus too. Maybe I deserved. Stop. Keisha's voice was sharp. You made a mistake at 22. You were grieving, vulnerable, and got scammed. That doesn't justify 3 years of silence. That doesn't justify him pretending you don't exist while he built a whole life without you. And it sure as hell doesn't justify him playing proud brother now that you're valuable to him. He was right. God, she was right. But the hurt little sister in me, the one who'd worshipped her big brother, wanted to believe there was more to the story. Wanted to believe he had a good reason. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, I know you're upset, but can we please talk? I'm your family. I've always cared about you even when we weren't speaking. Let me explain everything. There's so much you don't know. There's so much you don't know. That line hooked into my chest. What if there was something I'd missed? Some explanation that made sense of everything? Keisha saw my expression. Don't, Simone. Don't let him gaslight you into thinking his abandonment was somehow noble. But curiosity and that stubborn hope were already winning. I typed back, Coffee. Tomorrow. Downtown at Morton's. 2 p.m. His response was immediate. I'll be there. Thank you for giving me a chance. A chance. As if I owed him anything. I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Marcus's face from 3 years ago. Cold, distant, disgusted. You made your choice. I'd replayed that conversation 1,000 times, searching for warmth that wasn't there. Now he wanted to explain? Now there was so much I didn't know? Keisha stayed over, protective as a guard dog. I'm coming to this coffee meeting, she announced over breakfast. No. I need to face him alone. Then I'm sitting at the next table. Non-negotiable, Simone. This man hurt you, disappeared, and only reappeared when you became wealthy. Everything about this screams manipulation. She wasn't wrong. But I had to know. Had to hear what possible justification existed for abandoning your only sibling when they needed you most. I dressed carefully, power suit, heels, the armor of success. I looked like the woman from the Forbes article, not the broken girl crying over ramen. Morton's was busy during lunch rush. I arrived 15 minutes early, claiming a corner table with clear sightlines. Keisha positioned herself 3 tables away, pretending to work on her laptop. At 2:03 Marcus walked in. 3 years changed him. He'd gained weight, lost hair, looked tired in a way that went beyond physical. He spotted me and smiled, that same boyish grin from childhood. And for a second I was 7 years old again, watching my big brother defend me from playground bullies. Then I remembered. He became the bully. Simone. He reached for a hug. I remained seated, gesturing to the chair across from me. Hurt flashed across his face, quickly masked. You look amazing. Really successful. Thank you. My voice was ice. You said you had something to explain. I'm listening. He ordered coffee, stalling. I know I hurt you. I know my silence was wrong. But Simone, I was protecting you. I nearly laughed. Protecting me by abandoning me? Yes. His eyes met mine, earnest and pleading. Let me start from the beginning. Marcus leaned forward, hands wrapped around his coffee cup like a lifeline. After Dad died, I was a mess. You were so young, so devastated, and I was supposed to be the strong one. The big brother. But I was drowning. His voice cracked convincingly. When you wanted to invest with Devon instead of me, it felt like you were saying I wasn't good enough. That I couldn't protect you or provide for you. I watched him carefully, searching for sincerity. So you punished me? No. He looked genuinely distressed. I was angry and hurt, yes. But when Devon stole your money, I felt guilty. If I'd been a better brother, more financially stable, you wouldn't have looked elsewhere. You wouldn't have been vulnerable to a con artist. He paused. I blamed myself, Simone. I couldn't face you because every time I looked at you, I saw my failure. It sounded reasonable. Almost. You blocked my number, Marcus. Returned my letters. That's not guilt, that's cruelty. I know how it looked. But I was in therapy working through my issues. My therapist said I needed boundaries to heal. That maintaining contact while I was in such a dark place would be toxic for both of us. He reached across the table. I pulled my hands back. I never stopped caring. I never stopped checking on you from a distance. From a distance? The words tasted bitter. You got married and didn't invite me. You built a whole life and erased me from it. His face flushed. Angela. My wife, she didn't understand our family dynamics. She thought you and I had this toxic codependent relationship. She encouraged me to focus on our future, not the past. Red flags exploded in my mind. Your wife encouraged you to abandon your only sister? Not abandon. Create healthy distance. He was sweating now. Look, I know it sounds bad. But Angela came from a big family, lots of drama. She helped me see that sometimes the best way to love someone is from afar. To let them grow without interference. I let Marcus talk, watching his performance with growing clarity. Every word sounded rehearsed, calculated to trigger my guilt and sympathy. So for 3 years you loved me from afar, by completely ignoring my existence. But now that I'm successful, suddenly healthy boundaries don't matter. His expression flickered. Annoyance quickly covered. That's not fair, Simone. I've been following your journey, cheering for you. On Facebook. My voice was sharp. Sharing my articles. Taking credit for my success with strangers. That's my sister. Family legacy. Tell me, Marcus, did it feel good? Pretending you supported me while I was building everything alone. I wasn't taking credit. You commented on that jet video. 2 million people saw you playing proud brother. Did any of them know you hadn't spoken to me in 3 years? I leaned forward. What do you really want, Marcus? Because this confession act isn't working. He sat back and something in his face changed. The pleading softness hardened into something familiar. The cold dismissal from 3 years ago. Fine. You want honesty? Angela and I are struggling. My job isn't paying what we need and we have debt. Significant debt. When I saw how successful you'd become, I thought. You thought you could cash in. The words were ash in my mouth. I thought family helps family. You're sitting on millions while your only brother is drowning. Don't you think you owe me something? I raised you after Mom died. I put my life on hold to make sure you were okay. There was the real Marcus, the one who'd been hiding behind therapy speak and crocodile tears. You were 17 when Mom died. Dad raised both of us. And you didn't put anything on hold. You went to college, lived your life, barely came home. That's not how I remember it. Of course it isn't. I stood gathering my purse. You've rewritten history to make yourself the hero and me the ungrateful villain. But here's the truth, Marcus. I don't owe you anything. You abandoned me when I had nothing. You don't get to collect now that I have something. His face reddened. After everything I've done for you? Everything you've done? I laughed, harsh and sharp. Name one thing. One single thing you've done for me in the last 3 years. Marcus stood too, his voice rising. I gave you space to become who you are. I stepped back so you could be independent. And this is how you repay me. People were staring now. Keisha had her hand on her phone, ready to intervene. I don't owe you repayment for abandonment, Marcus. That's not how family works. You don't know how family works. You've always been selfish, always thinking about yourself. Even with Devon, you didn't care that investing with him broke my heart, that it destroyed my trust. The accusation stung, but I held firm. I was 22 and grieving. I made a mistake. You made a choice to punish me for it forever. Not forever. Just until you learned. He stopped, realizing what he'd admitted. Until I learned what? My place? Until I was desperate enough to come crawling back. My voice dropped to steel. I learned, Marcus. I learned I'm stronger without you. His phone rang. He answered it, never breaking eye contact with me. Yeah, she's here. No, it's not going well. Pause. She's being difficult. He listened, nodded. Okay, we're on our way. Dread pooled in my stomach. What did you just do? Marcus smiled, and it wasn't kind. Angela thought you might react like this. We have a backup plan. Come on, there are people who want to see you. I'm not going anywhere with you. Not even to see Aunt Patricia? Uncle James? The cousins who've been asking about you. He held up his phone, showing a group text. They're all at my house right now. Waiting for you. They've missed you, Simone. Don't you want to see your family? It was an ambush. A carefully orchestrated trap using the only leverage he had left. The family members I'd lost when Marcus cut me off. You told them I'd come? I told them you'd remember what matters. Money isn't everything, little sister. Family is. Against every instinct I went. Keisha followed in her car, texting me warnings I ignored. Marcus drove, making small talk I didn't return. His house was modest, neat, in a neighborhood that whispered middle-class comfort. Cars lined the street. I recognized Uncle James's truck and Patricia's sedan. Inside, they'd gathered like an intervention. 12 people in Marcus's living room, faces I'd loved since childhood. Aunt Patricia rushed forward, pulling me into a hug. Baby girl. Look at you. We've seen the articles, seen your success. We're so proud. They didn't know. None of them knew Marcus had cut me off. I could see it in their warm smiles, their excited chatter. To them, I'd been the one who disappeared, too busy with my fancy company to visit family. Marcus had been feeding them a story for 3 years. Angela appeared, petite, sharp-eyed, wearing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Simone. So wonderful to finally meet you. Marcus talks about you constantly. She linked her arm through his, a united front. We're so glad you could make it to our little family gathering. Uncle James raised a glass. To Simone. Making us all proud. They toasted. I stood frozen, understanding the trap's true nature. Marcus hadn't brought me here for reconciliation. He'd brought me here to be manipulated by people I loved, in front of witnesses who believed his version of events. If I exposed him now, I'd look like the villain, the successful one who refused to help family in need. Actually, Marcus said, his arm around Angela, we wanted to share something with everyone. He looked at me pointedly. Simone and I have been discussing some exciting opportunities. Ways our family can benefit from her incredible success. The room hummed with interest. I felt the walls closing in. That's not, I started. Aunt Patricia squeezed my shoulder. It's so wonderful that you two worked through your differences. Family should always stick together, especially when times are hard. Hard times. He told them I knew about their struggles. That I'd agreed to help. Every face looked at me with expectation and love, waiting for me to confirm Marcus's lies. I looked around the room at faces I'd missed desperately. Aunt Patricia, who taught me to braid my hair. Uncle James, who walked me down the aisle at my college graduation when Marcus didn't show. Cousins who'd been my playmates. All of them believing a story Marcus had carefully constructed. Actually, I said, my voice cutting through the warm chatter, Marcus and I haven't worked through anything. The room went silent. Angela's grip tightened on Marcus's arm. He shot me a warning look, but I was done. 3 years of silence and I'd finally found my voice. We haven't spoken in 3 years. Not since he told me I wasn't his sister anymore and blocked my number. I watched comprehension dawn on their faces. I didn't know about his marriage until yesterday. Didn't know about this house, his struggles, anything. Because he erased me. Aunt Patricia looked between us, confused. But Marcus said. Marcus has been lying. The words felt like broken glass coming up. He's been sharing my success on social media, playing proud brother for strangers while refusing to speak to me. And now that he needs money, suddenly I'm family again. That's not true. Marcus's face flushed dark. You're twisting everything. I reached out because I missed you, because Angela helped me see I was wrong. Show them. I pulled out my phone. Show them the text where you told me I wasn't your sister. Show them your blocked contacts. Show them anything that proves you've been the supportive brother you claim to be. He couldn't, and we both knew it. Uncle James stood slowly. Marcus? Is this true? The room watched Marcus war with himself. Continue the lie or confess. Angela whispered something urgent in his ear. Finally he exploded. Fine. Yes, I cut her off. She deserved it. She betrayed me, invested with a con artist instead of her own blood, and lost everything. She was an embarrassment. The cruelty in his voice made Aunt Patricia gasp. But Marcus wasn't finished. I built a new life without her drama, without her poor decisions dragging me down. And then she gets lucky. Lucky. My voice shook with rage. I worked 80-hour weeks. I slept in my office. I built my company from nothing while grieving alone. Grieving alone because you pushed everyone away. Marcus shouted. You were so ashamed of losing that money you disappeared. Don't blame me for your isolation. I pushed everyone away? My voice rose to match his. You blocked my number. You returned my letters. You told everyone I was too busy for family when I was desperately trying to reach you. Uncle James stepped between us. That's enough. Both of you. He looked at Marcus with something like disappointment. Son, is what Simone's saying true? Did you block her? Marcus's jaw worked. She made her choice. Answer the question. Yes. The word came out like poison. Yes, I blocked her. Because every time I saw her name, I remembered how she chose a stranger over me. How little I mattered. So yes, I cut her off. And I'm not sorry. The room erupted. Aunt Patricia was crying. Cousins argued. Angela stood by Marcus, defensive and angry. Uncle James just shook his head slowly, sadly. And now, I asked quietly, cutting through the noise. Now you want me back because I'm successful? Because you need money? We're family, Marcus said, but his voice had lost its conviction. Family helps family. You're right. I looked around the room at the people I'd missed who'd missed me because of Marcus's lies. Family does help family. Family shows up. Family doesn't abandon you at your lowest and return at your highest expecting a payday. I turned to Aunt Patricia, Uncle James, the cousins watching with wide eyes. I love you all. I've missed you desperately. If you want a relationship with me, I'm here. But it won't involve Marcus. And it won't involve money, from anyone to anyone. Just family. Real family. Marcus moved toward me, anger and desperation warring on his face. You don't get to waltz in here and poison everyone against me. This is my house, my family. They were my family first, I said softly. Before any of this. And you took them from me with lies. No more. I walked toward the door. Keisha was waiting outside, had been listening through the screen. Half the room followed me out. Aunt Patricia, 2 cousins, Uncle James. They had questions, wanted explanations, wanted to rebuild what Marcus had broken. Marcus stood in his doorway watching his control crumble. You'll regret this, he called out. 6 months later, I stood at my office window watching the city lights flicker to life. The sunset painted everything gold, beautiful and temporary like most things in life. My phone buzzed. Aunt Patricia, Sunday dinner at my place? Uncle James is making his famous ribs. I smiled, typing back a confirmation. We'd rebuilt slowly, carefully. Coffee dates, phone calls, honest conversations about the years Marcus stole from us. Some family members sided with him, Angela's influence or their own bias. That hurt, but I'd learned to let go of people who didn't choose me. Keisha knocked, entering with champagne. Ready to celebrate? Today my company had been acquired. Not sold out. Acquired with me staying on as CEO, my vision intact, my team protected. The deal was worth more than I'd dreamed possible when I was eating ramen in that studio apartment. Ready. We toasted as Jennifer brought in the rest of my leadership team. People who'd believed in me, worked beside me, built something meaningful together. This was family too, chosen, earned, real. My phone buzzed again. Marcus. I almost didn't look, but Keisha raised an eyebrow. What's he want now? The message was long. An essay about regret, therapy, understanding his mistakes. How the divorce from Angela had opened his eyes. How he'd lost everything, his wife, his job, most of our family's respect, while watching me thrive. How sorry he was. How he hoped someday I could forgive him. I read it twice, searching for the emotions it should trigger. Anger. Satisfaction. Grief. But all I felt was tired. Uncertain. Want to respond? Keisha asked gently. I thought about the girl I'd been 3 years ago, sobbing because her brother called her worthless. About the woman I'd become without him. About the family I'd built from scratch. Friends who showed up, relatives who'd chosen truth over convenience, a team that had my back. I typed, I forgive you, Marcus. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. I hope you find peace. I hope you become someone who deserves the family you once had. But that journey is yours alone. I'm done carrying your weight. Goodbye. I blocked his number and set down my phone. Through the window, my reflection stared back. Successful, surrounded by people who loved me, finally free. My parents would be proud. Not of the money or the company or the jet. They'd be proud that I'd learned what Marcus never did. Family isn't about blood or obligation. It's about showing up. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away from people who don't. Keisha raised her glass again. To real family. To real family, I echoed and finally believed it. If you've experienced family betrayal or toxic relationships, please share your story in the comments. You're not alone. Remember to like this video and subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming adversity and finding strength. What would you have done in Simone's situation? Let me know below. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything. Thank you for being part of this community where we share, heal, and grow together.